In today's video we are going to find out what pyramids and plots have in common. We are going to take a look at the structure of plots. The analysis of structures of plots is closely related to this man, Gustav Freytag. He was a German writer who lived from 1816 to 1895. As other writers before him, he tried to find an underlying structure that made it easier to write and eventually analyze stories. He came up with 5 terms to describe the structure of plots. These terms can be seen as the stages a plot goes through: the exposition, the rising action, the climax, the falling action, and the denouement. These stages happen one after another, starting with the exposition and ending with the denouement. During the exposition, the author introduces the characters and their relationships, the setting, as well as other important information like the historical context. In a 5-act play, the exposition is part of the first act. Next is the rising action. It begins with an event which creates a problem or conflict for the characters and which sets into motion a series of important events. This event is called the inciting incident. It is an important event which sets the rest of the story in motion. In a 5-act play, the rising action is part of Act 2 or maybe Act 3. The climax of a plot marks the turning point of a story. The exposition and the rising action have been leading up to this moment in the story. It is the part of the story where conflict escalates or a moment of greatest tension. After the climax, the reader is able to anticipate how the story might end. Following the climax is the falling action. It consists of a series of events that end with a resolution in which the main conflict or problem of the story is resolved. The resolution indicates that the story is reaching its end. In a 5-act play, the falling action takes place in the 4th act, which ends with the resolution. The 5th and last stage of Freytag's pyramid is the denouement. This part of the story describes the outcome of the events of the story. Loose ends of the story are tied up, and the final consequences of the events of the story as well as the fate of the characters are revealed. In a fairy tale, the denouement might consist of only one sentence, and they lived happily ever after. In a 5-act play, the denouement takes place in Act 5 of the play. We found out that the plot is building up until it reaches its climax, which leads to the falling action and the end of the story. If you take a closer look at the structure, you might also find that it looks like a pyramid. And since Gustav Freytag came up with the idea, we call this structure Freytag's pyramid. Let us test Freytag's pyramid with our story about Alice, Tim, Charlie and Steve. Alice is going to be the main character that is the hero of our story. The story is told from her perspective. During the exposition, we get to know Alice and Tim, and we are told where the story takes place. As soon as we learn that Tim and Alice aren't a happy couple, the rising action begins. Tim doesn't love Alice, but Alice wants a partner who loves her. That is why Tim and Alice fight a lot. During this stage, Tim meets Charlie at a local gym. They fall in love, which adds another problem. Alice, being unhappy in her relationship with Tim, and Tim's love affair with Charlie lead to the breakup of Alice and Tim. This is the climax of the story. Their breakup sets the events of the falling action into motion. Alice is single again and very sad. She might even learn during the falling action that Tim and Charlie decided to marry soon. Alice isn't happy about that, but she decides that she spent enough time being sad and she starts to use a dating app. That is how she meets Steve and they fall in love. This is the resolution of the story. Alice is in a happy relationship with a partner who loves her. During the denouement, we might learn that Alice married Steve and that they are having a baby. As this example shows, Freytag's Pyramid is a great way to analyze the plot of a novel, a movie or a play, or anything with a plot. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If so, don't forget to leave a like and consider subscribing to my channel. If not, you know what to do then. See you later.